Shalom, shalom. Today will be Job 36 to the end. Then Elihu continued and said, Bear with me a little, and let me show you there is still more to say for Eloah. I bring my knowledge from afar, and ascribe righteousness to my Maker. For truly my words are not false. The one perfect in knowledge is with you. See, El is mighty, but rejects no one, mighty in power and heart. He does not keep the wrongdoer alive, but he gives right ruling to the oppressed ones. He does not withdraw his eyes from the righteous, and sovereigns on the throne, and seats them forever. And they are exalted. And if they are bound in shackles, caught in the cords of affliction, then he reveals to them their work and their transgressions, that they behaved proudly. And he opens their ears for discipline, and commands that they turn back from wickedness. If they obey and serve, they complete their days in blessedness, and their years in pleasantness. But if they do not obey, they perish by the sword, and die without knowledge. But the defiled ones in heart become enraged. Let them not cry for help when he binds them. Their being dies in youth, and their life among the male cult prostitute. He rescues the afflicted one in his affliction, and opens their ears in oppression. And he also would have brought you out of distress, into a broad place where there is no restraint. And what is set on your table would be filled with rich food. But you are filled with the judgment of the wrong. Judgment and right ruling take hold of you. Beware that rage does not entice you to scoffing. And do not let a large bribe turn you aside. Would he value your riches? No, not precious ore, nor all your strength. Do not long for the night when people go up in their place. Beware, do not turn to wickedness, for you have chosen this rather than affliction. See, El is exalted by his power. Who is a teacher like him? Who has appointed him his way? Or who has said, You have worked unrighteousness? Remember to extol his work, of which men have sung. All men have seen it. Man looks on it from afar. See, El is great, beyond our understanding, and we do not know the number of his years. For he draws up drops of water, which distill as rain from the mist, which the clouds pour down in showers on man. Also who understands the spreading of clouds, the crashing from his shelter. See, he has spread his light upon it, and he has covered the depth of the sea. For by these he judges the people. He gives plenty of food. He has covered his hands with lightning, and commands it to strike. Its noise declares concerning him. Also the cattle, as to what is coming up. At this too my heart trembles, and leaps from its place. Listen to the trembling of his voice, and the sound that comes from his mouth. He lets it loose under all the heavens, and his lightning to the corners of the earth. After it a voice roars. He thunders with the voice of his excellency, and he does not hold them back when his voice is heard. El thunders wondrously with his voice, doing great deeds which we do not understand. For he says to the snow, Be on the earth, also to the gentle rain, and the heavy rain of his strength. He seals up the hand of every man, for all men to know his work. Then the beast goes into its lair, and they stay in their dens. From the room of the south comes the whirlwind, and cold from the scattering winds of the north. By the breath of El, ice is given, and the expanse of water becomes solid. He also loads the thick clouds with moisture. He scatters his bright clouds, and they swirl about, being turned by his guidance to do whatever he commands them on the face of the earthly world. He causes it to come, whether as a rod, or for his land, or for loving commitment. Listen to this, O Job. Stand still and consider the wonders of El. Do you know when Eloah placed them, and caused the lightning of his cloud to shine? Do you know the balancing of the clouds, the wonders of the one perfect in knowledge. Why are your garments hot when the earth is stilled from the south? Did you, with him, spread out the clouds strong as a hard mirror? Teach us that we should say to him, would you not set in order because of darkness? Should he be told that I would speak? Would any man ask to be swallowed up? And now they shall not look on the light that is bright behind the clouds, when the wind has passed and cleared them. For the golden north from the golden north it comes, with Eloah its awesome excellency. The Almighty, we have not found him out. He is exalted in power and right ruling, and great is right in righteousness. He does not oppress. Therefore men fear him. He does not regard any who are wise of heart. Then Yahweh answered Job out of the whirlwind, and said, who is this who darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Now gird up your loins like a man, and I ask you, and you answer me. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if you have understanding. Who sets its measurements if you know? Or who stretched the line upon it? Upon what were its foundations sunk? Or who laid its cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of Eloah shouted for joy? Or who enclosed the sea with the doors when it burst forth and came from the womb? When I made the clouds its garment, and thick darkness its swaddling band, and assigned for it my law, and set bars and doors, and said, this far you have come, but no further, and here your proud waves stop. Have you ever commanded the morning, and caused the dawn to know its place, to take hold of the corners of the earth, and the wrong to be shaken of it? It is changed like clay under a seal, and they stand out like a garment, and their light is withheld from the wrong, and the arm lifted up is broken. Have you come to the sources of the sea, or have you walked about in the recesses of the deep, were the gates of death revealed to you? Or have you seen the gates of the shadow of death? Have you understood the breadth of the earth? Declare if you know it all. Where is the way to the dwelling of light and darkness? Where is its place? That you should take it to its boundary, and know the paths to its home. Do you know? For you would have been born then, and the number of your days been many. Have you entered into the storehouses of snow, and have you seen the storehouses of hail, which I have kept for the time of distress, for the day of fighting and battle? Where is the way that light is divided, or the east wind scattered over the earth? Who has cleft a channel for the overflowing water, or a way for the thunderclaps? For the thunderclaps. To make rain fall on land where no one is, a wilderness in which there is no man, to satisfy the wild and waste places, and to make the seeds of grass to sprout. Does the rain have a father? Or who has brought forth the drops of dew? From whose belly comes the ice, and who gave birth to the frost of the heavens? The waters harden like stone, and the surface of the deep is frozen. Do you bind the bands of Kamah, or loosen the cords of Kisil? Do you bring out the constellations in the season, or do you lead the bear with its sons? Do you know the laws of the heavens, or do you set their rule over the earth? Do you lift up your voice to the clouds, so that floods of waters cover you? Do you send out lightnings, and they go and say to you, here we are? Who has put wisdom in the inward parts? Or who has given understanding to the heart? Who has wisdom to count the clouds, or to tip over the bottles of the heavens? When the dust hardens and clumps, and the clogs cling together. Do you hunt the prey for the lion, or satisfy the appetite of the young lions? When they crouch in dens, sit in the cover of their shelter. Who provides food for the raven when its young ones cry to El and wander about without food? Do you know the time when the wild mountain goats bear young, or do you observe when the deer gives birth? Do you number the months they can plait, or do you know the time when they bear young? They bow down. They bring forth their young. Their labor pains are ended. Their young ones are thriving. They grow up in the field. They shall leave and shall not return to them. Who set the wild donkey free? Who loosed the bonds of the wild donkey? Whose home I have made the desert, and the salt lands his dwelling places. He laughs at the commotion of the city. He does not hear the shouts of the driver, the rage of the mountains in his pasture, the range of the mountains in his pasture, and he searches for all that is green. Would the wild ox be pleased to serve you, or spend the night by your feeding trough? If you bind the wild ox in the furrow with ropes, would he plow the valleys behind you? Would you rely on his great strength, or would you leave your labor to him? Would you trust him to bring home your grain and gather it to your threshing floor? The wings of the ostrich flap joyously, but it is not the pinion and plumage of a stork. She leaves her eggs on the ground and warms them in the dust. And she forgets that a foot might crush them, or a wild beast tread on them. She treats her young harshly, as if not hers. Her toil is in vain, without fear. But Aloha has made her forget wisdom, and did not endow her with understanding. When she lifts herself on high, she laughs at the horse and its rider. Have you given the horse strength? Have you covered his neck with a mane? Would you make him leap like a locust? His splendid snorting is frightening. He paws in the valley and rejoices in his strength. He gallops into the clash of arms. He laughs at fear and is not frightened, nor does he turn back from the sword. The quiver rattles against him, the glittering spear and lance. He eats up the ground with fierceness and rage, and he does not stand still because of a voice of a shofar. At the blast of the shofar he says, "Aha!" and from afar he smells the battle, the thunder of commanders and shouting. Does the hawk fly by your wisdom, spreading its wings toward the south? Does the eagle mount up at your mouth and make its nest on high? It dwells on the rock and lodges on the crag of the rock and the stronghold. From there it searches out the prey. Its eyes see it from afar, and its young ones suck up blood. And where the slain are, there it is. I need a sip, I'm sorry. Just a moment. <clears throat> 40. And Yahweh answered Job and said, should a reprover contend with the Almighty? Let him who reproves Aloha answer it. And Job answered Yahweh and said, see, I am insignificant. What would I answer you? I lay my hand over my mouth. Once I have spoken, but I have no answer, and twice, but I say no more. And Yahweh answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, now gird up your loins like a man. I ask you, and you answer me. Would you also set aside my judgment? Would you pronounce me wrong, and you be declared righteous? Or do you have an arm like El? Or do you thunder with a voice like his? Deck yourself, please, with excellency and grandeur, and put on esteem and splendor. Scatter abroad the rage of your wrath, and look on everyone who is proud and bring him low. Look on everyone who is proud, humble him, and tread down the wrongdoers in their place. Hide them in the dust together, bind their faces in obscurity. Then even I would confess to you that your own right hand does save you. See now, Behemoth, which I made along with you, he eats grass like an ox. See now, his strength is in his loins, and his power is in his stomach muscles. He bends his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his thighs are knit together. His bones are the tubes of bronze, his ribs like bars of iron. He is the beginning of the ways of El. His maker brings near his sword. For the mountains yield food for him, and all the beasts of the field play there. He lies under the slender trees, under concealment of reed and swamp. The slender trees cover him with their shade. The willows by the streams surround him. See, if a river rages, he is not alarmed. He feels safe, even if the Jordan gushes into his mouth. Before his eyes shall he be caught with snares, or his nose pierced. Would you draw Leviathan with a hook, or snare his tongue with a line which you lower? Would you put a cord through his nose, or pierce his jaw with a hook? Would he keep on pleading with you? Would he speak softly to you? Would he make a covenant with you to be taken as a servant forever? Would you play with him as with a bird, or leash him for your young girls? Would trading partners bargain over him? Would they divide him along the merchants, fill his skin with harpoons, or his head with fishing spears? Put your hand on him. Think of the struggle. Do not do it again. See, any expectation of him is disappointed. He is laid low even at the sight of him. No one is so foolhardy to wake him up. Who then is able to stand against me? Who has given to me first, that I should repay him under all the heavens that is mine? I would not keep silent concerning his limbs, or his mighty power, or his fair frame. Who shall take off the surface of his skin? Who approaches him with a double bridle? Who shall open the doors of his face with his frightening teeth all around? Rows of scales are his pride, closed up, a binding seal. One to the other they fit closely. Not even a breath enters between them. They are joined one to another. They stick together and are not separated. His sneezings flash forth light, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go firebrands, sparks of fire shoot out. Out of his nostrils comes smoke like a boiling pot or kettle. His breath sets coals on fire, and a flame goes out of his mouth. Strength dwells in his neck, and fear leaps before him. The folds of his flesh cleave together. They are firm on him, immovable. His heart is as hard as stone, even as hard as the lower millstone. When he raises himself up, the mighty are afraid. Because of his crashings they are bewildered. No sword that reaches him does prevail, neither spear, dart, or lance. He reckons iron as straw, bronze as rotten wood. The arrow does not make him flee. Sling stones become like stubble to him. Clubs are reckoned as straw. He laughs at the rattle of a lance. His undersides are like sharp potsherds. His sprawls on the mud like a threshing sledge. He makes the deep boil like a pot. He makes the sea like a pot of ointment. He leaves a shining path behind him. One would think the deep to be gray-haired. No one on earth is like him, one made without fear. He sees all that is haughty. He is sovereign over all the sons of pride. And Job answered and said, You know that you are able to do all, and that no purpose is withheld from you. Who is this that hides counsel without knowledge? Therefore I declared, but I did not understand. Matters too marvelous for me, which I did not know. Listen, please, and let me speak. I ask you, then would you make it known to me? I have heard of you by the hearing of the ear, but now my eyes see you. Therefore I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes. And it came to be, after Yahweh had spoken these words to Job, Yahweh said to Eliphaz the Temanite, My wrath has burned against you and your 2 friends, for you have not spoken of me what is right, and as did my servant Job. And now, take 7 bulls and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up an ascending offering for yourselves, and let my servant Job pray for you. for I accept him, lest I punish you, because because you have not spoken to me what is right, as did my servant Job. So Eliphaz the Temanite and Bildad the Shuhite, Sophar the Naamathite went and did as Yahweh commanded them, and Yahweh accepted the face of Job. And Yahweh turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. And Yahweh gave Job twice as much as he had before. And all his brothers and all his sisters and all those who had been his friends before came to him and ate food with him in his house. And they sympathized with him and comforted him for all the evil that Yahweh had brought upon him. And they each gave him a kitzah, and each one a ring of gold. A kitzah is a monetary unit of certain value, perhaps in the form of a lamb. And Yahweh blessed the latter days of Job more than his beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep, and 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 100 female donkeys. And he had 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he called the name of the first Yemiah, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Keren Hapuk. And in all the land were found no women so beautiful as the daughters of Job. And their father gave them an inheritance among their brothers. And after this, Job lived 140 years, and saw his children and grandchildren for 4 generations. And Job died, old and satisfied with days. Yeah. I wasn't in the wrong. Y'all were in the wrong. Y'all were terrible friends. Terrible friends. I'm gonna go, let's see. Job is old. I mean, to say he's 40 plus, I feel like that's pushing it. So I'm gonna say he's 50-ish. We're just gonna go 50. 50 plus 140 makes 190. The last person to live over 120. Well, we'll just call it. No. Okay, hold on. Okay, so Jacob made it 147. Isaac made it 180. Abraham made it 175. Terah made it 205. Nahor went 148. So, if I had to take a solid guess, Job is somewhere between. It's got to be. It's got to be somewhere between here and Peleg. Yep. And probably before Abraham. Somewhere in that time gap, I think. My opinion. I don't know. I know nothing. I'm just assuming based upon how old he lived. Theoretically lived. Because I don't think this says. He still had 10 kids, and it takes 9 months to have 10 kids. So, or not, you know what I mean? It takes 9 months to have a child. And you're probably not, we're just going to go with that year mark. So, 10 years for children. Yeah, he's got to be at least 50. Gotta be. Right? Because his kids are out there. He's got 10 kids, and they are out there in their own houses. All of them. So, I have to assume. I'd have to assume. Ooh, that also means that because we can see in Genesis there are points in the Bible that's like, oh look, they already had the law. Or there's points in Genesis where it's like they already had the law, right? But the reason and the thought process or the reasoning behind that is Adam walked with God, Adam got the law then, and it was passed down verbally, and then they go to Egypt, and then we have to get Moses to be like, hey, don't do that, don't do this. And there's actually a Torah portion where, I can't remember the buddy's name. I don't know, somebody died, and he only had daughters, and yeah, the daughters got their portion, the portion of the inheritance from their father. And that also tracks here. And their father gave them an inheritance among their brothers. Yeah, I don't know. He's before Abraham, in my opinion. I love you guys. May Yahweh bless you and guard you. Yahweh make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahweh lift up his face upon you and give you peace. Thus they shall put my name on the children of Israel, and I myself shall bless them. Shalom, shalom.